Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy for those of you that managed to subscribe, those that shared the video, those that went ahead in the comment section to give me feedback, and those that did personal inbox. I'm really happy. I appreciate your feedback. Thank you and thank you. So like I had promised in the previous video that I'll talk about the effects of teenage pregnancy. We see teenage pregnancy does not only affect the victim, who is the teenager in this case, but we see the nation is affected, the child who is born is affected, the parents. It has effects on different parties. So specifically, I did a brief research about the effects of teenage pregnancy, and according to the Healthline, in 2014, over 250,000 babies that were born. 77% of these babies were unplanned. Now this puts a young mother in a position where she's not only responsible for herself, but also for the baby, for another human being. Okay, and we all know how this stands out. It's quite a tough job, I can say. And so when I look at my first and foremost effects, we see that being a mother and carrying a baby does not only come along with physical changes. We see that it also comes along with mental changes. Okay, it comes along with added stress. A young mother could have added stress as a result of having sleepless nights, and making appointments with the doctor, taking care of this baby. So it comes along with stress, basically physical and mental changes in someone's life. So recently I've been watching Flavia. She's a 30-year-old mother, and she always talks about in her interviews and her vlogs how it's depressing to be a mother. It's traumatizing sometimes. And I was wondering, okay, now for her, she's 30 years old. Imagine 30-year-old. How about a 15-year-old mother? How about a 13-year-old man? How about an 18-year-old mother? So we need preparedness in this case. So that is one of the main effects. But also we see the financial constraints, the finances. Usually what happens, we know. And what happens to these teenagers, they don't have a chance to go for higher levels of education, and they're likely to drop out of school because of several factors, because of not being able to fit in the community, in the school community, because of several factors. We know those factors. But also we see that when they are not done with their job, with their school, with their education, the chances are lessened for them to have professional qualifications. And so they are restricted economically. They cannot have better jobs in this case because they are school dropouts. They do not have better qualifications, and it's going to really be hard for them to sustain themselves when it comes to economically. It's going to be hard for them to sustain themselves economically, and as a result, the chances are that they're going to lack most of the basic needs of life. And trust me, life is going to really be hard for this teenager and for the child at the same time. But also now this leads me to another point of we all are aware that usually what happens when you give birth and your body is not ready to give birth, it creates a physical health issue. We've heard of fistula, we've had people losing their lives, we've had girls give birth to low birth weighted kids, we've had teen mothers becoming anemic, we've had them having or acquiring STDs in this case. So literally, when you look at giving birth when you're still young, your system has not maturely developed. There are higher risks of you having those implications, all the factors that I've mentioned below. So lastly, I see that usually this child or this teenager, we all know the African communities, yeah, when a guy makes a girl pregnant because the girl is not of age to become a mother, they are still in school, it's a crime. And so what is going to happen? We've had these things, we've watched them on TV. The guy or the father to be is going to run away. to escape from being the responsibility, but also from being imprisoned, because that is a crime. And so the chances are that this teenager is going to end up becoming a single mother at a very tender age, and no one would love to be a single mother, because you're going to have to play the fatherly role in this case and the motherly role, and it also comes along with a lot of responsibilities and stress. So now when I go to the side of the child who is born in this case, usually, like I've mentioned, they're going to lack a father figure, especially in a situation where they're now raised by a single mother. They're going to lack a father figure, and this is going to create trauma. They're going to end up opting for other options, because basically they look at home as not a very comfortable place to be, because of the money, probably because of the environment. It's traumatizing, I can tell you this. And so what is going to happen is that this child is going to run away from home. Most of the times they're going to end up on streets, and they're going to develop very poor and worse behaviors that are not good for our nation. They're not good for the child as well, but also for the community. They're going to end up becoming thieves, they're going to end up becoming rapists, they're going to, all those associated behaviors when it comes to running away from home. So lastly but not least, we'll see that usually what happens, like I mentioned in my previous video, that what happens to these children, they always look up to people to inspire them. And so when they have grown up in a community where they are literally looking at these mothers struggling, they do not have an inspiration, a great inspiration. So the cycle is perpetually likely to repeat itself. So you realize that the child is going to look at having a family as one of the best options when they are still young. And the cycle is going to repeat. The children are going to have the same cycle. The student like that is going to repeat itself, and that is not good. So please, to those that have not subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel to enjoy more and more interesting things coming in. Thank you so much. Wait and watch my next video.